Yeah, so everyone, this is IronSWUG. We're radio beam, for those of you that don't know. We build particle accelerators, and we exclusively use SOLIDWORKS for design. We also use PDM to control our documents and inspection and electrical as well. Everybody on radio beam side, we've got a bunch of the engineers all over the place, and that's and Tara.
My name is Matthew Hall. I'm with Dassault Systems, the SolidWorks brand. I'm based on the East Coast, work from my home up in Vermont, so I'm happy to be out here in California and visiting here. My first time, well, maybe my second time to Santa Monica. We're here with IronSWUG. It's been a great trip so far. And I'm not going to take much time. I just want to say, we have a couple QR codes here. So we have the SolidWorks user group network. That's SWUGin, which we collectively refer to as. It's run by the group I'm part of, which is the user advocacy team. And so we're interacting with users such as yourself. We hear your voice. We take your voices back into the company and say, what do you like? What do you love? What do you want to see improved? And interface a lot with the R&D teams, our executives, our HQ in France to make SolidWorks better and better. This SWUGin organization, this is our main platform. We can go and join a user group, network, and connect with other experts such as yourself if you have questions, and if you want to find out what meetings are happening in your area. That's the best place to kind of go and connect and to join the IronSWUG's page as well. If you want to go to the next slide just a second. But so we've been operating under the mantra that community is everywhere. We have our own platform, the 3D Experience platform, and part of that there's an app, a social collab app called 3D Swim, which is on the furthest left. And that is, you can log in with your SolidWorks or your 3D Experience ID. And we have about 2,000 people coming, unique visitors a day. They're coming there just asking questions, answering questions, helping out. We're sharing information there. So it's one other resource you can go to if you're stuck on a question. It's there to help you, succeed with SolidWorks. At the same time, we've given up on trying to say, okay, customers, users, come to our platform. It's like, why do that? Let's go where the party is. So we're going to all different kind of places these days. The second one, of course, is LinkedIn. That's more for your professional networking. We share some tips and tricks there. We have a user group. We have a group. LinkedIn calls them group. We have a group there, and you're happy to you're welcome to join that and connect with people. The third one over is Discord. About a year and a half ago, we decided Discord has evolved a little bit from just a gamers platform. With COVID and everything, it's there's SolidWorks users there asking questions, sharing information, pictures of their models, and it's one other community. The demographics are a little bit different there than say LinkedIn or even our platform. And then the last one is WhatsApp. So we're also on WhatsApp, and that's we share some general information about our annual event, 3D Experience World, general SolidWorks information, user group leaders, SolidWorks champions. That's another program that we run that Adam will touch on. They have their own private groups there. So it's just an easy, quick way to connect because WhatsApp is so prevalent in so many geos around the world. So we just want to be able to, we're showing up where our users are. The one thing about our platform is you can go and upload any kind of SolidWorks model there, and it's playable, it's viewable, you can explode it, you can do all kinds of things within that. Whereas, maybe the other platforms you can upload a JPEG, a PNG, or a PDF, but that's the one benefit our platform has. But wherever you're at, if you have any questions, connect with people there. If you're stuck on something, of course, you have your VARs that help out as well, but if you can't get hold of them for whatever reason, I'm sure you're always available, but just in case, you have these other resources with people that are jazzed to help out and help you succeed with SolidWorks. So thanks for having us again, and I'll hand it over to the real experts.
All right. So again, this is IronSWUG. We'll talk about sponsors and stuff between our two presentations, but we do have some that helped us out, including our VARs that are in the room. Big shout out to Go, Hawkridge, Trimec, for not only stepping up and sending prizes, but also people. So So complain to him all you want. Complain to him.
I thought he's got big shoulders, so.
You take that load. All right, so we're gonna go over some tips and tricks today for SolidWorks. I'm gonna set a timer so we don't go over. I'll touch on. Actually, I'm not gonna play much inside of PowerPoint specifically because everybody's seen enough PowerPoint presentations. I'm gonna actually dive into the software and do a lot of it just live. And we will go from there. I'm gonna introduce myself, tips and tricks, and then Q&A. I'm going to leave some time at the end to make sure everybody has questions. Feel free to ask questions, complain to me about your problems, and maybe we can talk, we can figure it out, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help y'all. A little bit about me. My government name is Brad Meador. Everybody calls me Tank. I'm a husband, a dad, a project designer at Altec Industries. So we build bucket trucks, cranes, digger derricks, anything to keep the internet running and power on after storms, after fires. We build product to support that. I specifically work in structure and structures of engineering. So I do large weldments. We're talking 5,000–6,000 pound steel weldments out of 2-inch thick plate. So we do big, heavy parts. I'm a user group leader myself from Roanoke, Virginia, also known as the Star City SWUG. We are called the Star City of the South. We have a big, like a 70-foot illuminated star on the mountain that's in the middle of our city. So we named it that way. I'm also the Mid-Atlantic committee lead for the user group network. So any state that's in the Mid-Atlantic region, any user group can reach out to me. I will go present. I will help them find rooms. I will help them, get resources to host their meetings. I'm also a SolidWorks champion, which is like an individual version of a user group. Essentially, if you want to, oh, look at what I've done. I've designed this cool thing, but you don't want to host a user group, or you don't want to, reach out to others and do that kind of thing. That's what the SolidWorks Champions is about. It's more of individualized, showcasing what you can do or what I've done with SolidWorks and just being a good voice for the platform. I'm also a certified SolidWorks expert. And then because sleep is for the weak, I have 2 other careers. 20 years experience as a live event producer for the state of Virginia. And I'm also a Virginia certified pyrotechnician. So when I get back, I will be shooting off all of our city's fireworks from June 27th until July, I think 7th is my last show, and I'm booked every night to shoot fireworks. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I like blowing things up, and I like getting paid. I like getting paid to blow things up. So it's a fun little hobby.
Blow things up with somebody else's money.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into some tips and tricks here. Again, this requires audience participation. Feel free to stop, question, comment, ask me things, even, tell me something that I messed up, because I will learn something. This is one of the things I love about user groups is no matter what a topic I present on, there's always somebody who might have a better way in the room. They might have found a better way. Also promise to make too many dad jokes, add GIFs or puns in the presentation. But enough of PowerPoint. We're just going to dive into SolidWorks here. This is actually one of our smaller units here. You might see something that looks very similar to this, setting up your internet, power at your house, whatever. But we're going to dive over into a new part. One tip and trick: Control Tab will cycle through all your open files while you're there. You can Control Tab, just bump it, or you can actually just click on whatever one you want to do. So the beginning point of every part is a solid. I call it a solid sketch, even though that's a whole different program. And before you do any sketching or anything, I always make sure that all my settings are correct. Who's your cat admin? You are? Do you set all this ahead of time?
Yes. Yeah. Nobody changed.
Okay. There's one here I want you to turn on. Use fully defined sketches. Turn that one on. It makes life. I will show you why. This will keep them from not using fully defined sketches. Turn it on.
Is that the one person?
Oh, well then go get them. Okay. Well, so always like to set up, everything, especially with new hires, and there are some use cases where you don't need to set that, but new hires, co-ops, anybody who's new to the software, set that up. So yeah, the next rollout, make sure you set that up there, and then you turn it on so they can't turn it off. And then what version are you on?
We're gonna up to 5.
Okay, good, because the last thing I wanted to talk about was preview sketch dimension. Have that turned on. It actually allows you to dimension your lines and whatnot without having to initiate a dimension command. So we'll kind of dive into that real quick. And that was new. Yes, yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure, because we had some users last night that was on 2023 and older, and they, obviously can't use that option yet. But preview sketch, I have this here. I click it, it's going to ghost a dimension. Well, it should ghost. Did I turn it off? There it goes. It'll ghost the dimension there. You just click on it, it sets the dimension, and you can just type in the dimension you want without actually having to go into a smart dimension or horizontal dimension command. That's preview sketch. Yes. Yeah. Preview sketch dimension is what it is. It allows you to do that. I just make sure people know about it, because a lot of people don't. And fun fact, this one is a touchscreen. I did not know that until modeling around, and I was doing something. I touched the screen during my first presentation, and it went wild. All right.
It says fully defined every time.
Oh, that song. If whoever doesn't do it, you need to play the fully defined every time song by Kobe Schnars.
We can send you that. It's a great area. I used to do it with my students in college. Next concert.
I don't know. One of the big things that I like to do is I love to model in symmetry. We make hundreds of parts a day, sometimes thousands of parts a day, and we always try to tell our designers, make them symmetric. So we want to make sure that no matter which way it's made, if it's bent up, bent down, whatever, it can be installed backwards, forwards. So we make things in symmetry. One of the big features I use is dynamic mirror. So I'm going to select my center line, hit my S key, which brings up my shortcut bar, type in the dynamic mirror command. There we go. Pull up there, and if you can, I'll zoom in here. We can disregard this relation or move it out of the way. There's 2 horizontal lines across the top and the bottom of my center line now, indicating that is on. It's a sticky command, so we can turn that on. Hit your start your line, which in our setup is L. And as you start drawing your part, you can now work in symmetry without having to go in and create your mirror command later inside your sketch. Now, we did find a caveat while I was working on this presentation. If I had to take something here and move it later, it's fine. But if I go in and delete something, it doesn't delete on the other side. Again, another feature enhancement request we could do. Same thing with the trim command. The trim command will only work on one side or the other. We're still working, on that. But with anything, SOLIDWORKS listens. They do the top 10 every year. Have you set it on the top 10? So pull it out as an enhancement request.
Well, you got a go guy here that can help you with that.
Yes.
And for us to do, fill out the enhancement request on Teams, and I'll send it off.
Mhm.
And for anybody out there in the Zoom world, get with your bar. They can help you. Hostage, Go, Trimac, all those guys are phenomenal, and they can help you.
Yep. I forgot to start my timer. Oh, direct line. Call him at 2 a.m.
Matt is here if you want to get his phone number. So it does that same thing.
It does. It'll do the mirror over, but you won't be able to do any deleting on the other side. It also doesn't fully define the part once you do it, but it's just a way to quickly get your parts symmetric, and then you can fully define your stuff later.
Dynamic mirror does it on the fly.
So here I am done with my dynamic mirror. I know I'm done making these sections here. Again, put my S key, bring that up to where I want, type in start typing dynamic mirror, and you can see it stickied on. We closed it off. The double lines, top and bottom, go away. Now we're going to dimension it. You can do it with the preview sketch by selecting your 2 items. It'll preview your dimension there if you'd like we were using before. Or we can insert, your dimension here. But if you're over here and you're going to measure between the 2 because you really can't infer a center line on a part unless you have a CMM that you can do the calculation on, you do your dimension and then drag it over the top, or you hit your shift button and it'll let you dimension across the center line. Let me delete that one out of there so it actually shows up correctly. I know. I over-defined it. So we do our sketch. We hit the shift key. It'll auto infer that you want your dimension across the center line so that now you can get in there and actually measure it with something that's, physical hand measurement. Again, y'all use the CMM, so that's a lot more advanced than we do. We do this thing where we look at it and go, it's a 30-foot piece of steel, a little wavy, but it'll work. And if it doesn't work, you just get a hammer, and if that doesn't work, get a bigger hammer.
Our tolerances are 16 inches.
Oh, so it's not okay. So it's not just large weldments. Okay. Perfect. I like hearing this. This makes me feel a little bit better about stuff where I walk out in the shop and somebody's just smacking it with a hammer, and I'm like, okay, engineering the precision. Ooh, I have never done that. Let's see what we can do.
It's worth a try.
I don't know if it works, but why not? We're here. Let's do it live.
Great audience participation.
I love being able to work on the fly. And if I don't crash SolidWorks, I'm usually not presenting right. That's what I'm doing. So let's see. Let's call up our dynamic mirror command here. Pull it up. Because I want to use this again, you click the little plus button there at the bottom, right beside the eyeball. It automatically puts it back in my S key. And let's see. If I hit my control, nope, it only lets you do 1. Sorry. That's something I've never tried before. That was a good question. I like this.
That could be a good enhancement too. If it's something that you need or you could use, I would definitely submit that because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually that would be a good enhancement request. Notes.
SolidWorks loves to hear about user feedback and loves to hear things like this because it helps them give them things to do. It's not like they don't have enough to do, but they love to do these things for their customers.
All right. Another one, you see how I'm in my line command and all my lines are chaining together. I don't necessarily want that all the time, but if you click and hold the left mouse button to where you want it to go and let go, it disconnects the chain. So you can also do single lines the same way, much like some software which will not be named. So you can also do things like draw a line in, and let's say if I want to draw a line, there's a lot of things in here. See how it's giving me inferred relations, like your vertical relation or a horizontal. You hit your control, and it temporarily avoids those, turns them off. So you're not putting relations in. If you have a complicated sketch and you're trying to get the thing to move, hit your control key, put it where you want to, and then put your relations in later. So you're not locking it into something you don't want. It's all about design intent, because I don't know how y'all design. So I at least want to give you the best, fighting chance on getting things done. Another one, power trim. Familiar with the power trim tool? Yes. Did you know you can power extend with it? With the shift key, you can do that. You hold your shift key down and you can power extend all your stuff, or power trim the same way you would, and then go back over that if you, I didn't want to trim that out. I want to go back. You can also stretch a line using the shift button as well. Select your line you want to extend, hold the shift button down and drag it straight up. that allows you to keep that, you know, whatever angle you want or whatever line segment you want. You just grab and drag it either way. So you're not having to worry about it moving. Yes, that's a good one. I like that one. Let's pull that one back up. Yeah, so you can ignore trimming a construction geometry. I also like this one here. Keep trimmed entities as construction geometry. We use that a ton because if you're doing something and there's a lot of inferred relations places and you need to have them, now it doesn't delete it. It just creates, it just ghosts it and you can use it later.
I think I like or something. I'm having to
Yes.
grab it out of the circle, and I still want that,
Yeah.
centric or co-radial.
Yep,
reference.
co-radial. Another one in the shift command is I want to move these two lines, but if I grab the edge here and I want to move those, you notice that it'll start stretching the part. And I typically don't want to do that. I don't want that part to stretch. I just want to move those two entities together. So you grab that, hit your shift key. Come on now, don't do it. Hit your shift key and it allow you to move it as intended without the parts stretching or moving independently of themselves. The shift key is really powerful. I did a presentation earlier this week called Holy Shift. And just on the shift key, I was able to fill almost 40 minutes of just shift button. It's amazing what one key is being allowed to do in
I
software.
picked up two things off that presentation.
Yeah, I'll show one a little bit later. It'll be fun. Mind blown. Right. All right. I exited my sketch. Our D key to bring your close sketch command wherever your mouse pointer is. So I can move it over here out of the way, hit the D key, move it to wherever I want, close it out so I'm not having to do it. And oh no, I didn't fully define my sketch. I cannot close it out. Oh darn, I have to go back and fully define it. I'm going to teach you a wizard trick. Do not do this unless you are completely confident in the design intent you have. Right click. It's not going to let me do it. Yeah, S. Let's see. Yep, it's not going to let me do it. Oh, I must have broken it. There's a fully defined sketch as well you can do in there. Let's see if it'll let me do it now. Nope. Huh. Well, I've stumbled upon something. I did.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. Good work.
Yeah, let's rebuild this thing. Well, guess it's not gonna let me do it. Yes. Oh. All right. Well, the fully defined sketch feature is for something if you're trying to dimension a spline or something that's a little swoopy. It's harder to define splines unless you do the style spline with control handles. I might have broken it because now it's acting funny. Did I crash it? No, I didn't. Okay. Good. All right. Now that we've gotten through our sketches, let's go into some parts here. We have the R command brings up your recent documents. You can pin your documents. The ones, if you're working on a project, you want to pin the one you want up there. I pinned some of these up here that I can do some examples for. Click the ones you want to open. Direct from that, pin it there. One of the big ones that I use a lot inside of parts is converting chamfers to fillets. If you have a fillet that's been started as a fillet, you can right click, convert it to a chamfer if you're in an area where you don't need a fillet command. These were all 2024.
And the chamfer came out
23. 23?
23?
Mhm.
It's fairly new.
It's fairly new. In 2024, though, I noticed the actual name changed as well. In 23, it would leave the word fillet there, but it would change the box.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an enhancement request because nobody wants to have to go and manually rename it. But you can go back and convert chamfer to fillet. But the caveat and one enhancement request that I want to do is if you start with a chamfer, you can't go to a fillet. Don't know why, but it's one we can do later.
We're saving it for a top 10.
Yeah, we're saving it for a top 10. We implement it. All I got to do is just turn a button on and
You gotta have a couple of hanging fruit for each next year.
Exactly. Exactly. New for, I guess it's 24. You can use line segments now, predefined line segments for your whole wizards. Whole wizards, anybody use whole wizard? Please do whole wizard. Convey design intent. I've got a user that only does everything in one sketch, holes in everything.
Don't do that.
Please don't, because as a designer who has to convert it for somebody to machine on the floor, I don't know if a hole bolt's going through that hole, air's going through that hole, water, a finger, I don't know. So, I mean, if it's a grab handle, you know, it's not, yeah, finger. But for me as a somebody who has to convert those over, it's always a blessing in disguise now that I can actually work on these kind of things, where I can just leave the endpoints where I want them to be. This actual command, we'll just kind of throw one in here, and I'll fully define it so it doesn't yell at me. I've got my sketch here. You know, my poor modeling engineer says all these holes need to be tapped and doesn't put it in an actual tapped hole feature. I can come in here, find the hole wizard, leave that sketch selected. And of course it's going to break. Find my tapped hole, what I want to do, hole specification, find it as a half. And then in the position area, it allows me to skip the endpoints I don't want. So if I have a complicated sketch, I can find the ones that I do want. Say if there's multiple different iterations of holes, I can go in there and find them later and go back through it. So I've got my hole, and it absorbs into that feature so you don't have a dangling sketch just sitting around out there. And now we're going to pattern it. Feature patterns are amazing. Please use them. Don't just model multiple holes individually. Again, I have that same user models holes and then models another hole and then models another hole, just in cuts, extrudes. Drives me insane.
I feel like feature patterns are a little bit more robust and better than sketch patterns.
Agreed. Feature patterns are, what would you say? Sometimes. We got my pattern here, but I noticed that one of these is off. There's going to be something that's going to be in the way. We can come down here in our instances to vary. I can pick the one that I want to move, modify it. So I know that this one needs to be 48 degrees rather than 45 degrees. I can move that one out of the way, still keep it as one patterned component. And that way, in my assembly, if I want to drive my bolts with that pattern, it'll move all that stuff around with me parametrically. We want to make sure that we keep and convey our design intent appropriately. Let's see. A big one that I love to use, especially work with imported parts. Do y'all work with imported parts, or do you buy or you make most everything? Mix, okay. One of the big things I love to do when I get an imported part, go straight to the evaluate tab, get my performance evaluation, and find what my problems are. This is a French part. Notice that everything's in French. I can't read it all here. So we're going to go to our settings tab, back again, and I'm going to type in the word translate. So we're going to go to our translated feature names here. I'm going to show it in the feature tree. You can put the whatever language you want to translate it to. And it translates everything in brackets. So you can read, you know, the intent from another company or another designer. But one of the big things I realized when we started putting imported parts in, especially some scan data and things, is complicated parts cause a lot of problems. So we noticed that this cut and this pattern here is causing 91% of my rebuild time, and I want to make sure that I don't use it. Like I don't crash my machine by having too many complicated parts in there. Go to my defeature tool. Does anybody use the defeature tool? No? Okay.
I started. It has not. If it's like an imported part that doesn't have the features shown, it doesn't.
So it's a solid, like just imported solid?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can use the defeature tool, like I was saying, go find the things you want to keep, the faces you want to keep. Then you can come in here and it'll find internal details you want to get rid of. And it'll convert over. I'll show you another way to defeature. You can tell it, like, I want to remove any feature that's you know, above a certain threshold, so 5% of volume or 10% of volume. And you can also find the features that are, you can, in the feature tree, pull the ones you want to remove as you defeature it, and it creates a configuration, which is doing right now.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and so this one's asked me which ones I want to get rid of. So I previously did this one. I know that these are the bosses that I want to get rid of. And you hit your check mark on your next button. It'll remove all the internal details and defeature it down to just essentially a dumb solid. Yes.
With the SolidWorks, I mean, with the master stuff, yeah, I mean, it's really easy. You can just suppress
Yeah, you can suppress the features. And there's also a little caveat of McMaster parts that a lot of people don't see, is that the image quality is turned all the way up.
They want it to look the best they can have.
It's like McMaster designers are paid by the feature.
That's pretty
Or per configuration, yeah. I saw a hand up. You had a question? Oh, okay. And at the end, you could say, I want to create a new configuration, and or I could save it as a new document. I want to keep the design intent in there for my, say if I wanted to show the full piece. Now I've got a configuration here that's just a big solid. Go back to my performance evaluation here. It's got 6,800 graphics triangles, a little high for me. I want to go into my part, image quality. Notice it's cranked up kind of high. Your McMaster car parts are going to be over here. They're always at 99%. I don't know why, but they bring them in at 99% with shadows cut on, everything. Bust it down to, you know, a third or a quarter of what it is.
Funny thing is the draft volume all went past 100. It's like 120.
I don't understand why they do that. But now my graphics triangles go down to 3,000. Back from, I think, with the last number that we pulled from the other one that was fully defined was like 60,000. So you drop it by an order of magnitude of 10.
So we use at Altec, we try and keep everything under 30% on that draft volume.
So it creates a second configuration.
Yes.
I think that's why we ended up not.
Yeah, it uses a default configuration, or it takes a derived configuration underneath it. It's a derived configuration should, if it's derived underneath it.
Are you talking about the file problem?
Doesn't generate any serial number when you do it that way.
Do you need a new? Do you?
Yeah.
In some PDMs you have to have your configurations named right, like ref underscore or default, something like that. You can tell it to bypass those.
Well,
recognize.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right now, we feature the main configuration that way.
Yeah.
Is there any way to make it feature that configuration and not create a new one?
Yeah. So you can go through manually, just suppress the features in your default configuration, and that's what we've done before. So I'd go back in and actually just find the ones that were the issue, which was. You could save it as a new part document. I'm not sure if it'll.
When you bring it in, you're gonna do that before you create the serial number or whatever, right? So you just do that.
Well, let's try it, see what happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it
Yeah, because it's just a big blob. You're just taking up space at that point. Let's do that again.
play around with it, guys.
Yeah.
I won't reject your stuff outright.
Like, you have too many fillets in this, rejected.
No, I
Can
have.
you use that?
second configuration.
Yeah, one that says simplified or something underneath it. I guess it really just depends on how your PDM data cards are generated from it. But if you download it directly from the MasterCard and then delete all that stuff out of there before you save it into your PDM, that you shouldn't have to worry about doing the configurations and whatnot.
But if it's a supplier part and you don't need nothing more than just a space folder or bulk mounting
Yeah.
pattern, then yeah, save it as a new part and just use that new configuration. 'Cause you
Yeah,
don't care
yeah.
what it looks like.
That's generally what we do.
Yeah. So if like this one, I'd get it in like, oh, that looks really pretty. I don't need all that stuff. Let's delete all that crap out of there.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah,
I
'cause it
want
is-
to, I can throw a decal on top of that and make it look pretty in my rendering if my customer wants it rendered.
He's dealt with a lot of that with placards. That
Yes,
large
placards.
that text. So it's, yeah, don't do extrude your text.
Yes. Y'all do placards, like safety placards and stuff? Okay.
You don't model like the
That's
plastic.
the sweater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we model the decals and we have people put them in and extrude the text and it goes nuts. And then it, okay.
Internal, and we do what we call propaganda for reports and stuff, but where you make things look pretty, but
Yep.
I mean, it's a picture, so it doesn't matter.
So you can save as a new document here, but you can link it if you, well, it's not gonna let me link it. Interesting.
With, like, what do you guys on your
Yeah.
design? So when you're doing this to you want to
Override the mask.
He may even get ready to get done.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. If you
Yeah. No, yeah, go back and override. Yeah, you would have to go back and override the mass and make sure that the center of gravity and stuff is the same. But for screws, not going to really worry about it. But for something really big, when we do hydraulic valves, I mean, we get Parker hydraulic valves that are 200 pounds. I defeature it and it gets heavier because all the valve passageways are now full. So we have to go back through and make sure that's all put in there. Good one, man. I love all this audience participation here. I got a couple minutes left. We'll show some more things. If I don't break it. Boy, it's on the, oh, I know why it's on the struggle bus. I don't have my battery. That's why I have it not plugged in. You get my power cord out of there. Fun fact, you run on a laptop, you unplug it, it nerfs your GPU.
Don't use the price.
Yep.
You gotta have the recommended power for your GPU.
That's also why, guys, I make you give power cords when we're doing updates.
Yes. I was wondering why it was being crazy. Well, I mean, these machines are actually sweet. HP gave them to us to take on the trip. For the, yes. At the end, we have a survey. You pull up, you take the survey, you have a chance to win an HP ZBook. There's a power cord right there. All right.
Lunch.
All right. So one of the big ones I do, we work on large assemblies, lots of parts, internal. Tab, hovering and tab will hide parts that you don't want to see. Shift tab, you hover back over those, it'll bring it front to back. And then we'll hide those again, just so I can give it a good example. You hit Control Shift tab. Okay, not caps, Control Shift. What did I do? I did.
You missed the shift with the.
Yes.
Single finger.
All right.
I don't know how.
Control
You
Shift
did.
tab will now it's not going to work. Come on now.
Oh,
Yeah, let's,
yeah, did it right at the end.
yeah.
Large models are hard.
Yeah, but what it does, well, I'll pull a smaller one up here. Control Shift tab will show all those will temporarily show them and you can click them on and pull them. So tab, Shift tab, we'll bring them back. We'll hide some more here. And then Control Shift tab, we'll bring them up in this kind of a translucent blue and you can select the ones you want to show back. Yeah,
This is really good, even working with ice.
Yes,
As
you
long
can.
as it's not a large assembly, it'll do really well, but isolate is nothing more than a glorified hide all but what I selected.
Yeah, because I can come in here and create a configuration that I want, or create a display state off that. We consider a large assembly anything over 500 parts.
It's generally
what's on that
It
screen's a
does
large
look good.
assembly.
I like how,
Yeah.
I like how one of the bars here kind of like, cause graphics, triangles, there's a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
Hill.
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know it's.
So I did a,
That's the actual thing, but.
yeah, I did a presentation on large assemblies, and the general consensus is anything that slows down your computer or uses the majority. Anything. Yeah, if it's a complicated single part,
That K and N
You
filter?
guys, like moon signs, I've seen them and I know it's like.
But yeah, because the coils, yeah.
Yeah, the
I bet there's a lot of triangles in that thing.
Like we have a configuration for it where it's like covered and blocked, but,
Okay, yeah.
but yeah, our coils get
Yes.
pretty crazy.
yeah, it's always good to be kind of mindful of those when you get in your large assemblies. Let's go to a drawing here, and I'll kind of show another one. Do y'all do MBD or do you do drawings? Okay.
Are you guys successful with MPD?
So
We have not done it.
looked at it a lot over the years, and there's just a couple small things, if we could get them working, or get the to get them working.
This is
And
fair.
it's really things that are more for us that maybe other people aren't using, that we need for our machine operators to have. So we would love to probably get to that point. I've been talking with some of the VPs about it, and I think it's gonna be good because it's models master. There's no dealing with another file to maintain and keep up to date with. So I really feel like MBD would be good. We just gotta get to that point and get all the machines and the other people
Yep.
in the shop on the same page.
All right.
That's the problem, getting all the shop on the
So,
same
before-
page.
So before I finish up, I want to show you just a couple drawing tips and tricks here. One of the big ones I use a lot is flag notes. So you got a flag note here. Very familiar with flag note bank? Okay, flag note banks are always good.
Prasad,
Okay.
Prasad asked if you can repeat the GPU part you said about unplugging things, Brad.
Oh, yeah. If you unplug your laptop, your GPU performance goes down because they want to conserve power. But if you're doing back into drawings, if you're doing notes that are numbered and you have set as a numbered feature here, you click on the actual number itself, go to a triangle, whatever you want to do, whatever your company standard is, and then click add to flag note bank. What that does is allows me to come in here and say, I want to add a flag note to this. And so it will stay linked. I can say add flag note to stack, hit your stack. And the best part is now you can hover over it and it'll tell you.
So we don't put the triangles on the numbers, but we put a triangle letter next to it. But it seems like it would work the same way.
And what's cool is this is number 2. If I was to go in and let's say my customer says I want something in between that, we go in here and say note. That number 3 there is now number 3 down here. It stays parametrically linked. It's amazing, especially like with military contracts. We have 20 or 30 notes on the front page, and they're all linked, so that if I need to move one, I don't have to go back through and make sure that they're all parametrically linked.
With ED&T. Well,
I've never tried that. We can try. I like this. It's a good idea.
So we've got a few comments here in the chat I just want to throw out. So Deepak mentioned that he believes there's a macro to reduce image quality, which there is out there. You can probably find it anywhere. I know we have it. We put it into a button at Outset, so we can just hit it and it brings it back down to that under 30% threshold for our users. So that's a good thing. File size will go down too. That's also there. That's true. Deepak also said before defeature, I used a workaround, and it could still be applicable here, to just extrude a block over it and merge it all into one feature.
Yes. It doesn't look like you can add your flag note directly to your tolerance here.
When was the flag note added in SolidWorks? You got that from Will Rogers?
I do not know. It's been there it's been there quite a while.
Future people were changed.
Mhm.
Or like that, it seems like it would prevent what you're doing now.
Yeah.
what you're trying to do
I would
now.
love to be able to have that feature there and just be able to click that, add that there, put a flag note right there, and just have it linked.
It's a disaster.
You kind of
Yes. Yeah. Another big one that I use a lot, we use stack balloons quite a bit. Instead of actually right clicking and then stacking the balloons at a time, I'll just go through and stack them myself. And using the shift key, you can stack them and order them in the order you want. So if I want to stack 1 and 2 over here, I just grab and drag it with the shift key. We'll drag that one up into there and keep it all linked together. So now it's all linked back and forth. Yeah. There it goes. Display issue. All right, you can also do so you have a tolerancing scheme you like. You can go in. Oh,
We did it!
yes. I did it with the S key.
David said, ouch.
Oh,
So you guys, it is not us.
it's everybody. All right.
Stackable balloon options in the chat.
Yes. So, well, let's see. Do I want to? I really want to show this one because I think it's really good. If we got a second, if you don't mind me going over a little bit. Okay. So,
Okay.
oh, that's right. Yeah, because we had.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, we miss Daniel a lot, man. He was a big help. He SOLIDWORKS certification team. He just couldn't make it out this year, but we'll hope to have him back.
All right. So now let's hope we don't break this again. If I do, then we know it's a bug. All right. So I'm going to delete my tolerancing down here just so I can use what I want to show here. You could select your dimension that you want with your S key, type in Format Painter, and actually format your dimensions the same back and forth. Now, here's the fun one.
This is the one that blew my mind.
I love dimensioning all my stuff, and I look at it and go, wow, that view is really cluttered. I can move this dimension from this view to this view without having to relink it. You click your dimension, hit the shift key, drag it to the view, and it links it back.
You have to let go of the left click first before shift. Just a
Yeah.
side note,
Yeah.
it swings it back.
It's just like control and drag.
Yeah,
You have to
control
let
and
go of
drag.
the left mouse button before you let go of control.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just.
Yep, but it moves it between views. So if you have a view that's getting cluttered, you have something you want to move to a different view, that's a one. And I've used SolidWorks for almost 20 years. I had no idea that existed. I don't even know when that came out. Is that recent?
No, 15
Yeah.
years.
Oh my gosh. I've been deleting and re-adding all my dimensions.
And,
Oh,
and this right here is prime reason SWUG is so awesome.
yeah.
It's one of the only product softwares that has something like this, but having SWUG and be able to come in here and have your mind blown on something that was probably done since conception, and we're just now figured it out. I mean,
So
it's just awesome.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
One, since you did the copy of the tolerances, are they linked? Like if you change one, will the other change?
I do not believe so, but we can try it. Nope. It's just like your Word format painter or your Office format painter. Ooh. I don't know. We can do that real fast. Even though I don't have tolerances or anything on here, let's just do it. Because if so, that would be pretty good. All right, let's do something in
The
here.
epox and the control key will copy it. I've never tried that before.
Yeah.
All
right.
On a dimension.
So we'll do that. We'll click our format painter.
I just said, holy shit, Batman.
Nope. It doesn't seem like it will do it on the whole wizard. Oh no. Enhancement request. Request.
We are throwing all kinds of answer requests coming from radio, man.
I love this. This is great.
We're just gonna send SOLIDWORKS R&D team right.
It's being recorded, right?
Yes.
It is. It
Oh,
is.
and yeah, we record all these down and we'll break them up into individual videos and stick them on our YouTube channel later so everybody can watch them later. All right. And with that, I have time for question and answer before I blow up SolidWorks again. Yep. Yes. Yep. All right. Just question and answer. Did I just? There you go. I was like, I broke it again.
You can.
Yes, you
I
can.
Love it. And the cool thing about it is, Brad's getting ready to show you some stuff. IronSWUG.com, right? And also we have a YouTube channel, IronSWUG. I rebranded it from my user group to IronSWUG since we've put so much content out. But I have one in there that talks about that. Not sure which video it is, but you can not only have it in 4 windows, but you can drag and copy things from
Windows.
And I'm not even talking just parts. I'm talking about features.
Yeah, you can drop features back and
It's
forth.
really, really powerful.
The
So
windows,
check
you
that
can
out.
tile vertically, tile horizontally. If you stretch it across multiple screens, I will have one model on one screen, one model on the other, and you can tile them back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double the opportunity to crack.
Yes. Double the opportunity. All right. Before we get over to our sponsors real quick, we'll just go to ironswug.com just so I can show what's going on here. Here's our website. This is the one we keep up to date every year. We have all of our stops listed. When is
Purple this year
it's
because it is
90s
SolidWorks'
themed.
30th.
I tried to do the Yikes pencils. I don't know, just
90s.
wild
Yeah.
colors. I tried to do the Yikes pencils background. Does anybody actually remember Yikes pencils? Did I just age myself even more? Okay. I was trying to find backgrounds that looked like that, but it was like chaos every time I tried to make it work right. So I just went with a color. I know. Sure.
And he's also colorblind, so he has to be careful with
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have, and under the About Us, we have our sponsors listed here and all of our VARs, and they're, and at the top's our route here, and you can go see all of our stops and whatnot. Yep. And then under looking back, we have a bunch of videos and whatnot. But the key thing is, you can watch online for tomorrow for our last stop. You just click the Zoom link here, or actually you can fill out the form here, and I will send an email when we go live. It'll be roughly an hour ahead of time. I will send an email saying we're about ready to go live. But we have all of our sponsors on our page that that supported us, and they're all clickable links. So takes them right to the sites. Please go check them out.
What's a new sponsor this year? If you
Yeah.
haven't heard of them, check them out. So I'll try not to look at you over my glasses. I will pull them down from time to time. I've gotten a little older, so I've got to use, old man eyes now. A little older. But yeah, thank you guys again for coming out to the IronSWUG 2025 edition. This is our 4th annual, and we just appreciate your guys' input. You guys have been great up to this point. So continue it. Let me click over here so we get this. Okay. Today, my presentation is going to be learning from mistakes. Now, notice I didn't say learning from my mistakes because that would implicate that I did something wrong, and we all know that would never happen. I mean, the only time I was wrong was the time I thought I was wrong. So, anyway, my fun joke for the beginning of the slide. I'll try not to do the dad jokes. I'll try. All right. So, moving on, who am I? What am I doing here? My name's Adam Ebernickel. I'm a project designer in the product engineering department of Altec Industries. So all these kind of trucks like this up here, that's a digger derrick. We do bucket trucks. We do tree care stuff, a lot of stuff for the utility company. If you've not heard of Altec, you'll go out and see them everywhere now. I think you'll probably see PG&Es. Those are one of our big customers. You'll see all their equipment with it. I also am an adjunct in the applied engineering department of Malin Community College. I've been doing that as long as I've been with Altec, which is over 10 years. Just love giving back. I do about 3 classes a semester with the students and work through that. I also lead the Western North Carolina Asheville user group. Again, since I've been at Altec, it's like a lot of this stuff came in with Altec. And then shortly after that, I guess about 2020, actually, I became a committee member for the whole Southeast region. So basically Mississippi, Tennessee through the Caribbean. And then also Altec has seen such a benefit, just like Radio Beam and other companies out there. We brought them in-house and put them at each one of our main locations. So we have 11 SOLIDWORKS user groups within Altec. And so I manage those as well, or a stewardship over them, if you want to call it that. Also SOLIDWORKS champion. If you don't know about this and you like what SWUG is doing and maybe you want to do it on a little more personal level, this is a shout out from Matt Clegg and the champions. Every April they do an enrollment. It's good to have a sponsor for it, and also it is mandatory to have a CSWP. So those are a couple of requirements there. And I am a certified SOLIDWORKS expert. All right, moving on. Some key takeaways for this is going to be laying a foundation for long-term success, right? That's going to be our first one. The next one's going to be, what is the why, right? What is the why? Asking yourself that can help benefit in everything we do, okay? And then, of course, learning from mistakes so that we don't repeat those same things. All right, so first thing, there's a right way, there's a wrong way, and then there's my way. So in saying that, there may be wrong ways to do things in SOLIDWORKS, but I'll caveat that with, sure there is, but is there only one right way? I would argue no. So that's what's so beautiful about SOLIDWORKS is because I think Brad mentioned it earlier in the week. You can give 2-3 different designers or engineers the same thing to model up, just like this model challenge we're going to do after I'm done with my presentation. You can give 2 or 3 different people the same thing, and they'll come up with a different result at the end. And as long as it's still functioning right and you're still maintaining a lot of the efficiencies within that model with the feature tree and stuff, then you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. So moving on, I'm going to start here. I've done this once before, and don't feel bad if you're new and you don't know this stuff, because a lot of veterans still don't know this stuff. And I like to talk about it because if you went to Mexico, to move to Mexico, you'd probably learn to speak Spanish, right? Because that's how you would communicate while you're there. No different than if you went over to Italy or France or anything like that. You'd learn that language that you went to the country to learn. We use SOLIDWORKS day in and day out. Do we know the language of SOLIDWORKS, right? Do we know what things are called? Do we know those terminologies? When you call up your admin, Tara, do you say, hey, the command manager is missing? Or do you say, hey, that ribbon thing at the top's missing, right? It helps people that are troubleshooting for you, or even people that you're communicating on a daily basis, if you know the names of the things you're using. So let's start there, and let's start with number 1. Does anybody know what number 1 is? It's at the top. It's up here on the top left. Logo. So we'll look at that whole row. So we'll go ahead and throw that out there as a menu bar. Jumping down to number 2. What is that one? Anybody know?
Deepbox is UI.
The whole thing is the UI. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll call it
Toolbar.
toolbars. Yes, yes. Thank you. And guys on the Zoom, yeah, please feel free to put this stuff in there. I want to hear from you guys on Zoom too. Sorry I didn't mention that. All right. So number 3, I just mentioned it. Command manager. Nice. And the following one, it's a tab actually over here. So number 4, configuration tab. Thank you. That's a great one. Or configuration manager. I'd go with tab 2. I take that one. Oh, sorry, clicked that too quick. So the next one over, number 5, is your property manager. And then number 6 is going to be, it's kind of pointing out here. They're fairly new as of 2020, I think. 2016 breadcrumbs come out. Okay. So those are your selection breadcrumbs. I can't believe it was that long. Wow.
Breadcrumbs too.
Breadcrumbs, awesome. Thank you guys. All right, so then we're looking at number 7, which is kind of looking at this little
Oh, big got it.
filter.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, and then number 8 is going to be this whole section here. Yep, so you got feature tree or design tree. Yep. And then number, where are we at? 9. So I think did we jump over yet? Where's 9? 9's down here in the bottom. You guys probably hard to see it. So this bottom line across the bottom of SolidWorks is going to be one of my most favorite ones because a lot of people don't use it enough, but that's your status bar. There's a lot of great information in that status bar. Things like,
And Deepak got that.
awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, status bar is giving you great information. You can just, who goes to the measure tool to measure things? I do it sometimes, right? Evaluate, measure. Did you know you can just click on an edge and just see that dimension at the bottom? Or click 2 edges and see the dimension between those at the bottom. If they're parallel, if they're not parallel, it's going to give you the angle between them. A lot of that information, it'll tell you if it's underdefined, fully defined. It'll tell you if there's issues in your sketch, overdefined, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. And even more of how important it is. But then let's look at number 10. So number 10 is going to be over here on the right. You guys will probably be able to see that in the audience a little bit more now that I'm out of the way. Almost. You got it in your car on your windshield. Heads up display or heads up view toolbar. All right. And then number 11 up here at the top right. I'll take a couple answers for number 11.
Will says search.
Search. Yeah. So command search. There's also a few other things that live up there too, but currently that is pointing to the command search. Number 12.
Help.
Help. Yep.
Deepak says help.
Awesome. Good job. And then we're going to go with number 13. That it's a whole thing that runs down the side, all those different tabs.
Calls it the task manager.
It's the task pane. Task manager works. I like that too. How about number 14? This is the whole area in which you're modeling in.
Vig says graphics window.
Graphics area. I'll take graphics window as well. That's fine. All right. So that's the stuff. And this is what I'm saying. Don't feel bad if you're new or you're not new. There's a ton of people I speak with that don't even remember these names. And so when you communicate with them, how do you know what they're talking about, right? And so it's, again, you go to another country to learn a new language, or you learn a new language because you're there. This is what we do every day. Should we not know the language, right? So just a little pet peeve, I guess you could say. Now we're going to move into just setting up your models for success, because a lot of times when I see new people or people that haven't had a lot of in real world CAD experience, they'll just model anywhere in the thing and maybe just put a dimension back to the origin, or maybe even off of origin to a certain direction. But I'm a firm believer that if you set up your model for success, it's going to play a lot nicer down the road. Okay, and we'll get into that and see what that means. And that's because I think that if you model about the center plane, you're going to be a lot better off. So mid-plane modeling is your symmetrical friend. And what do I mean by that? And that's because no more than what Brad showed earlier, when he put that line down and did a dynamic mirror, he was able to do that between the two. Now think of that on a bigger scale. If you model your stuff center to the planes and center to the origin, when you go to mirror something, you mirror it right over, right? Also, when you lock things to the origin and to the planes, the origin planes, right, the default planes in the origin, you're taking out the variables of your model or your features exploding later on, right? Because those are known variables, and I think I might be getting ahead of myself on the slide. Create part with symmetry. Faces change with cascading effects on planes because the planes remain the same. Those are original planes, that original origin, it's going to stay the same throughout your model. So if you can locate and do things off of those, then you're going to have better success because especially say sheet metal, for example, when the face ID changes because you did something different, it's going to break because that changed. Even if you added a radius, right? You come in, you have even a part and
Convert to sheet metal.
convert to sheet metal is a great example, right? But maybe you put a radius on a part, then you went and we all know to put your fillets and radiuses at the end of the tree, right? Okay, we'll get to that in a minute too. And so if you have a radius or a fillet or a chamfer or whatever, and you do a dimension off of it and then you go back and get rid of it, guess what happens? You get a bunch of ketchup and mustard. But if you had done it to the plane, the original plane or the origin, then you're good, right? So they stay the same, and it makes for a much better modeling practice. And it's just as true for sheet metal. I already said that. Remember this simple mnemonic phrase. It might kind of keep you going. But faces can erase while planes remain, right? Because symmetry utilizes such an elegant model practice and leverages a lot of different things like a solid foundation, mirroring planes, can be useful for mating, center to centers. It's just the best practice in the universe, in my opinion, right? So just to save time, we'll go ahead and move past this, but it is a great path to victory in your models. Okay. Again, setting up your models for success some more. All right. Name features, use folders, use patterns, use the whole wizard, and put your fillets and all that stuff at the bottom of your tree. Because if you put them at the bottom of the tree, you don't have to worry about other things having that tied to it as its parent. Or you have that parent-child relationship, and so it functions better, and you don't get as much of that issue when you do delete them or get rid of them or change them, right? So keep that in mind. But first off, can anybody go in here and change that O-ring groove for me off this feature tree? Can you change the O-ring groove for me? Anybody? Oh, that's rough. I'm gonna have to click on every one of those till I find it, right? But what if we decided to make it a little more organized? Now, I will say this has a little bit of a diminishing return, right? You don't want to go in and do it on something you're not using all the time, but if it's or you do want to do it as something you're using all the time, but if you're not using it all the time, you may not want to go that much in depth. So kind of keep that in mind. But now somebody go change the groove ring for me, right? It can be done. So you're not setting it up for just yourself because it is going to be nice when you have to go in and do a revision, right? You know exactly where to go. But how about that next guy in line that copies your model over and uses it? Think of what the success they're going to have and how much quicker they're going to be and more efficient.
Or you open it 10 years later and look at it and go, who's the idiot that made it? Oh,
Yeah,
it was me.
exactly. And that's the whole point with this, because that is happening. I mean, I've been that guy. I still am that guy that doesn't label everything sometimes, right? Just depends on how much the boss is cracking the whip, right? But no, if you can do this and you can afford the time, it's going to set you up for success
It
later
says
on.
group them in folders. So if you know you
Yep.
want to group them in folders, do it.
Yeah, group them in folders. That's another good one. I don't know if I have folders on this. I do in other stuff. But yeah, group stuff in folders. Like anything with that O-ring stuff, I'd probably put that in a folder. That's a great point, Will. Thank you. But that does help as well. We'll talk a little bit more about some folder stuff, I think, in a minute too. All right, here's the newbie. Anybody ever had these or been one of these? You give them a project, you tell them, hey, I need this done, shortly. If you can just go take this and work on it. And they're like, oh, my first thing. And then they bring it back and you get this. Anybody been there, done that maybe, or had somebody they know done that? It happens to all of us, all right? I mean, I've been there. I can go back just like Brad said, look 10 years ago at my models and say, what was I thinking, right? And so we'll come back to this here in just a minute. But it happens. It happens to the best of us, right? But when we look at that stuff, do we understand what it means? Do we know what those colored lines mean? Do we know what the colored relationships mean? Do we know what the dimension colors mean? Do we know that stuff? Do we know that so we can help prepare ourselves in the future to fix those models as they arise, right? So let's first look at that. Let's look at auto-generated sketches, for example, right? So if you look at auto-generated sketches, you can see in this image here, an illustration of what, 3 different colors of relationships, right? I'm gonna jump up here real quick just to kind of point out, well, I better stay at my seat because I've got a camera. I'll use my mouse. Sorry, I'm a very moving person. Anyway, yeah. So
have a laser pointer if you want.
yeah, I got a mouse, it'll work. So yeah, you got yellow, you've got white, and then you've got green. Does anybody know what green means? Okay, I'll take good. It's defined. It's a defined relationship, so we're good, right? It's good. What about a what do we have next? Yellow dimension, yellow relationship. Slow down. I like that. Slow down. Somebody said, yeah, like a yellow light. I love it. I love it. So what did I do? That was good. That was good. I had one and yeah, if I don't, I'll try not to forget it. Yeah, with the sketch relation, somebody said the best way to fix it is just to delete it.
Oh. When he says he's colorblind, they don't mean anything.
They don't mean anything to Tom Cody. Don't worry, Brad's the same way. You can change a lot of your colors to help with that stuff though in your system options. But the yellow basically is an inferred relationship. It's saying it's looking at that point at the top of this line and it's saying, okay, actually, sorry, that's the white one. This one is the inferred relationship. It's a vertical and it's saying, I think, SOLIDWORKS says, I think you're going to be vertical, or sorry, horizontal. So I'm going to create this horizontal relationship as soon as you click that point. The yellow means, I think this is what you want, so I'm going to give it to you. And you're going to have that turn green as soon as you click. The white one, however, will be defined as yellow. The white one, however, does anybody know what that one is? Huh? Yes, it very much is so a consequence of clicking at that point too. So basically the white dimension, if we look at this, it is coming off this point here, and SOLIDWORKS is saying, I think you want it vertical with that point, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to help you line it up and get it there, but I'm not going to create that relationship. Okay. So now we're going to look at some of the sketch stuff, the ketchup and mustard per se. You notice the yellow is just a little bit different of a color, and if you're colorblind, you're probably definitely not going to notice that.
Different?
Huh? Yeah, so that's more of a mustard color, and that's more of a neon yellow color, I guess you could say.
I had no
It's
idea.
dim versus highlighted. So yeah. Yeah. So what does the red mean? When you see a red line or a red relationship, what does that mean for you? That means that that relationship is overdefined or dangling. It's basically redundant, or there's another relationship that's very similar to it. So now let's look at the mustard one. What does mustard mean?
It's the one causing the problem.
It can be part of that problem. It's basically invalid geometry. It's usually associated with the red. Usually when you see red, you're going to see yellow too. They kind of hold hands together, and when you can fix the reds, typically the yellows will iron themselves out a little bit, especially in assembly mates. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, it's basically just invalid geometry pattern. It can't understand, it can't compute it because it's got an issue somewhere else. And typically that issue is the red. All right, so how do we see this? Well, we can poke the eyeball. We can go to our menu, right? Our menu bar. We can hit view and we can hide and show our relationships there. We can also poke the eyeball down here in our heads up display or heads up menu or whatever, and then click the eyeball, come down and click view sketch relationships, and they will show up in case they're not showing. That'll help you be able to see that stuff. I say that because sometimes you don't want them on, especially if you're in a large sketch or a large assembly or whatever it is. You might not want to be dealing with the relationships at that point, so you can toggle them on and off this way.
Deepak says, no relations, fix everything.
No relations, fix everything. There you go.
The next guy figure it out.
That is a horrible, horrible thing, Deepak. I am very ashamed of you. No, Deepak, it's okay. I know it was a joke. No, that's horrible. Yeah, do not use the fix all button. If you do, it's bad juju.
So the red statement about dangling, that's incorrect.
So the dangling comes in on the dimension side, and I'll get to that here in just a minute. So that's on the dimension side of it when a dimension's dangling.
No, it can be a relationship too. You'll see the olive green color.
Olive green.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which we've changed to hot pink because olive green is really hard to tell unless you print it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
Wait.
imperceptible.
So if you deleted like an edge,
Yeah.
right, and used like a convert enemies or a relationship to be coincident, stuff like that, that relationship still shows up as an olive green by default, and it's
Okay.
pink, and it refers to the dimension.
Yeah, because I've copied a lot of sketches over and just I used dangling just so I have the dimensional references there still when I go back in to modify it. I don't know if I've ever paid attention to the olive color. It might be what you're saying though. It's hard to see.
Like, unless you print it, it's almost imperceptible.
Yeah, gray I probably could go with. Yeah,
So that's mine, like, it's really obvious.
Yeah. that makes sense.
I
No.
have no idea. Yeah.
I'm red green color deficient.
Yeah.
So.
That makes sense.
Which
Hence why
I don't do anything in red and green because of that. We've had 2 people that were red green colorblind.
Okay.
I do blue and red.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
that also caused controversy back in 2016 when the icons were changed to gray and blue. They did that because most of their customers are male who are blind their color to green and red. So there's a big outcry in the forums to change it back to the yellow and green, and they eventually added it in Service Pack 3 in 2015
Oh, okay.
to accomplish that. So you can't
Cool.
switch it back to that if you prefer that, but if you're colorblind, then you can keep it as the gray and blue.
Cool.
But I
Didn't know.
highly suggest
a good one, too.
using the olive green color instantly, like as soon as you install SolidWorks.
I'm gonna have to
It's-
talk to Brett about that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of color deficient people.
Yeah. Same.
But I mean, as somebody who's not color deficient, the olive green is almost imperceptible.
Oh, go back. I meant to throw this in there. I was going to ask you guys this. This is really cool. Javelin, I think, put this out a while back. So you can scan that QR code if you want to. I'll just click on it and let you guys see it real quick. I did not realize until a while back when I was looking this stuff up for something else, there are 31 different sketch relations. That's a lot of sketch relations. Look at this. This is crazy. Yeah, decline them all. I don't want. Look at these horizontal, vertical, collinear, co-radial. I mean, that's stuff we kind of deal with every day, but then you get into some of these other ones. It's like, I didn't even know about some of these. Of course, some of these I did. They get a little bit more, more in the
Equal
bottom.
curvature,
but
big slot. I mean,
like doubled? I've never heard of doubled.
That's when you do that
The shift,
construction line.
and you do
with the
shift over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't know it was called double.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, so like if you do an offset or something like that. Okay. Yeah, I just never paid attention to it, I guess. But yeah, these are, I mean, that's a lot of relationships. So I just thought that was cool. Just fun information, right? All right. All right, so now we'll look at the dimension colors, right? Now, what do the dimension colors mean for us? Well, what does black mean? We see that a lot. We want our dimensions to be black, right? For the most part. That means they're going to be driving dimensions. They're driving your parts, whatever you're telling it to do, it's going to do it, right? What about a gray dimension? Driven dimension. Thank you. All right. How about a red dimension? I just mentioned this. We just had this discussion. Huh? Invalid. Dangling. There you go. Dangling. There's dangling. How about purple?
No, the red would be over the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe that's ours,
So in
our color standard.
hmm,
Default would be the olive green.
Yeah.
But, so they could have been changed on the.
maybe we changed ours.
It's probably changed for the same reason we changed ours.
I bet so.
Not.
The colorblind deficiency. Yeah, because I've always, ever since I've been in SolidWorks, I've seen red as dangling for dimensions when you bring them in, especially on print. So this is more on the print side of things. Like when you have a dimension that's blown up on your print, it turns red.
Yeah, it's olive green.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we, on our end, we changed it to pink.
Pink. So I guess at Outtake we changed it to red. This back to the olive green thing, guys. We're having a discussion here that SolidWorks has this set actually to an olive green.
It got purple.
Deepak changed purple. So apparently the red for dangling is just being changed by everybody because the olive green is horrible. So go with whatever color you want, guys. Now, what is the real purple color? Oh, he got it. Okay, so Deepak got purple. What about everybody else? Anybody else know what purple is? So not marked for print. So it's going to be kind of into your MBD stuff, and when you're doing anyway, all your dimensions, at least for what we use, are going to come in for being used as print. You import them from, yeah, you're going to import them from the model to the drawing, and you can go in and right click your dimensions in the sketches and stuff and tell it to not be marked for the drawing. So when you go to the drawing, you can actually auto dimension everything in your drawing, and it'll pull in your dimensions from your sketch to your print as long as it's not checked, not marked for drawing.
Also does that if you design tables.
Design tables. Well, that's it. Okay, so here's another one. Went into the next one. What's magenta?
That's different for us. Our magenta for us is same thing.
So magenta is controlled by design table. All right. So we went through our dimensions.
Looks like paint to me.
Now,
Yeah, it is.
so now back to the newbie. So we got this newbie, we got this sketch. Now we've kind of understood our relationships. We're understanding our sketches and the colors and what's going on here. But what do we do with it? We can still go in there and do it. Now this is a more simple problem, and I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate this and try and show you something cool with it. But what if this was a lot more involved? I mean, I didn't lose my hair for nothing, guys. These sketches are not fun to play with, right? You want to pull your hair out sometimes. So let's jump into SOLIDWORKS real quick and just say what's an easier way to deal with this. And we'll come in, we'll open this part. I want to grab this and edit that sketch. I'm going to throw a line in here from the midpoint here to the midpoint here. And I didn't drag, so guess what? I had to hit escape like Brad told us about earlier. And so I'm going to click the line, and then I'm going to set that line to vertical. And of course, that is not going to be right. And of course, SOLIDWORKS is going to get mad at me because I'm telling it I want it midpoint to midpoint, vertical line, and I've tied all my dimensions to the corner, right? And so we get in here, and this is a simple solution, but what if it wasn't? This status bar along the bottom that we talked about earlier, how important that is, how it gives you those dimensions on the fly and stuff. It'll also tell you whether something's underdefined or overdefined. Right there where it says no solution found at the bottom right, it'll tell you overdefined or underdefined. But it's telling me now there's no solution found. I wonder something about that. What if I come down here and click it? That becomes clickable, right? And it pulls up something called Sketch Expert. There's a button at the bottom of this dialog. I'll just point it out here and then I'll talk about it in a minute, but there's a clickable button there you can click, or checkbox you can click. But I'm going to diagnose this. Look at my computer so I don't break my neck looking back there. Yep, we're going to say okay. It's going to find all the possible solutions to fix this sketch easy for me, right? And so it's saying there is 21 possible solutions to fix this and make it, defined or whatever, and not have to deal with the issue anymore. This is solution one. Solution one is just saying get rid of the midpoint. Get rid of the midpoint, we can fix it. All right, what's solution two? Solution two says get rid of the vertical relationship. Solution three says, well, we get rid of the 2-inch dimension. We can stretch that, slot out and give you what you wanted. Or we can get rid of the corner dimension and take it to the middle for you like you wanted. And then once we figure out which one we want, we can hit accept and then the checkbox, and it will actually implement that fix for us on the fly. Now, what I wanted to also show you is down here at the bottom, this checkbox. You can check here or the previous one. Now, if you do check that, anytime you have this issue, it's going to automatically go into Sketch Expert for you to help you solve that. So now you don't even have to click down there in the status bar anymore. All right. Let's get out of this.
Every time they have a bad sketch, it just goes to Sketch Expert.
And then jump back to the PowerPoint. And so there, we fixed our newbie's issues, and hopefully when we fixed our newbie's issues doing that, we shared that with him. We showed him or her how to do that so that they can be more efficient and better in the future for us too. Okay. Moving on. This is where I need you, Brad, to do this for me. Right here. This is what we talked about a couple of days ago for the Zoom. Zoom guys, I'm going to have Brad put a
Can I do polls not being the host?
poll. Maybe, I don't know. Give it a try. If not, we'll just do it. I wanted to try and capture this data though, because I've been toying with this idea for a while.
Doesn't let me do polls.
Doesn't allow you to do polls. Okay. Put your answers in the chat and I'll go through and just dive into it and try and figure out it later. But I would really love everybody's participation, especially online with this where I can get the data from it. Who's an Apple user? Let me see your hands. Okay, cool. Who is a Android user? Okay. If you're an Android user, so we had quite a few Android users. If you're an Android user, go ahead and keep that one hand up. If you're an Android user and you customize your UI a lot, throw your other hand up. Okay. All right, hands down. So let's look at Apple users. How about you Apple users? Hand up. Okay. And for Apple users, if you are an Apple user and you customize your UI a lot, put your other hand up. Okay. Just curious because I feel like, and I think this is
Android's winning on the chat.
so that's what I figured. And the reason I look at this is because Apple, and I'm not saying anything bad about Apple because they have a great product, but Apple is more of a here's your sandbox, play in it. You're not customizing as much. Android here is customize everything you want. And I think that kind of correlates a little bit with the UI because I found that I have found that most Android users will tend to customize stuff more. And that's a good thing. I'm just kind of curious. So that's why I threw that out there. But I wanted to talk about this because customizing your UI is so beneficial. I mean, you're talking about night and day difference on efficiencies. You can get by with a certified SolidWorks associate certification without any of this stuff. You get to the CSWP, you better have learned this stuff because the amount of time it's going to take you to do your model with a time frame, this is going to start getting important. And once you get past the CSWP, you're not going to have a chance of probably passing some of the tests without some of this stuff and saving your time and becoming more efficient. So we're going to jump in and just talk about mouse gestures and setting up some different useful commands and stuff real quick in SolidWorks. Anybody know how to customize mouse gestures or anything? Okay, good. We got quite a few in here that do it.
As a cat admin, do you use presets on?
I do.
Awesome. So we do too. We preset some of the basic ones for people out of the box and they can customize them as they want. But yeah, you're going to come in here and just for mouse gestures, just go to that last tab. I love how SolidWorks has done this in the newer updates where you can just drag and drop straight to the mouse wheel. The coolest thing I like about the mouse gestures, as well as shortcut bar and stuff like that, is that they're environmental specific, right? So if you're in a part, it's going to be part stuff. If they're in a sketch, it's going to be sketch stuff. If they're in assembly, it's going to be assembly stuff and so on for drawings. There is one actual command that I keep on every one of my mouse gesture wheels, and I'm curious if anybody can point it out. Or just where it's at, maybe. In case you don't recognize the symbol.
Or left.
Yep, lower left quadrant. There's the same exact one, and that's my shortcut bar. Anybody know how to activate the shortcut bar without that way? S key. Yeah, S key all day long. It's all about reducing the mouse miles, bringing those commands and features and functions to your mouse, right? It's all about being lazy. I'm lazy, and I'll admit it because it makes me a better and a faster and more efficient user of SolidWorks, right? As long as you're not sacrificing quality and other stuff, then I think that's perfect to do that. So the S key and all that stuff's keeping it near your mouse. You don't have to travel out, find it, and take up more time in modeling, and that's why it's so pertinent for the certifications.
Will Rogers says confirmation key.
Use the D shortcut too.
D key. I love the D key. Actually, I'll show you real quick a cool thing with the D key. Yeah, put the old man glasses back on. Sorry, wrong window. I want the system options. Let's go ahead and type. Just like command search, you can search here too, and it does a great job. Sorry, typing bread. I don't know why I typed in shortcuts. I think I had it on my mind. So let's look at breadcrumbs here. We scroll down, we see where it's at. But you can have breadcrumbs on selection, right? And that's going to pop it up at the top. And then you hit the D key, it brings it to your mouse, right? And helps you with that. But you can also select this one underneath it, and you don't need the D key anymore. It automatically shows up where your cursor is. Previous versions, so we're on 24 at Altec. When I was on 23, I felt like it was causing issues with my flyout menu. Sometimes my flyout menu would come up and sometimes it wouldn't when I had this checked. I haven't noticed that on 24. So it seems to be a little bit more functional. But I like it because now I don't even have to D key now. The confirmation window. Yes, the confirmation window with the D key to your mouse too. Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. Good point. All right.
David in the chat says for CSWPA, the surfacing one, you have to use you customize the command manager to
Yeah.
get it to work.
So let's go to shortcuts. And the shortcuts is that S key that Terry was saying. It's environmental specific too. We see parts, assemblies, drawings, and sketches. We can drag the thing straight in and out, and then we can drag these out. Same functionality as the mouse gestures. But also something I like about the shortcut bar, which, not shortcut bar, sorry, search command search, is when it lived up here, when people would hit that S key, they didn't realize it. Bring my mouse down here so we're not overlapping that. When people hit the S key, they didn't realize that their I bar would actually default to the command search, and they could just start typing with the S key. So a few years back, SolidWorks said, hey, let's throw that in the S key flyout itself, and so they did, and there it is. But what makes it so powerful is Brad kind of illustrated some of this earlier, but if I wanted to type in mirror, right, I can do 3 things with that mirror that I just typed in. I can click it, initiate the function. I can click the eyeball, and if I click the eyeball and let go of the mouse, it's going to actually drill down to however deep it needs to go in the menus, show it to you, put an arrow next to it so you know where it's at next, right? So then you go back and use it again. But I can also grab it, and it's not going to work well here because I've already got it in the menu, but I can grab it. I can drag it here and put it here. I can even put it up in my command manager. So it's a nice, easy way to customize your command manager and your shortcut bar on the fly.
Drag it up there.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna learn something new today. Awesome.
All right, jumping back. And now you've done all this, right? You've done all this customization in your UI. Make sure you save those settings because I'm sure you're going to upgrade from one version to the next, or maybe a service pack upgrade or whatever you're doing, right? And you're going to lose those if you don't do this one simple thing. Now, most of the things in regular SolidWorks, I can't remember if it's in SolidWorks Connected Start Menu. There's a few things missing in the Start Menu with Connected. But in the Start Menu, you can type in SolidWorks Settings Wizard or just SolidWorks, and it'll pop up. You click that. You're going to come in and set Save Settings unless you're wanting to restore them. Once you hit the Save Settings, then it's going to say what settings do you want to save? So is it just the toolbars? Is it your display, your menus, which ones you want to check and uncheck, so that way you're not overwriting maybe what Tara's doing if she's pushing custom stuff out there too for menus. So yeah, save them, and then when you do that upgrade, come back. And I like to save them periodically because I'll update my stuff and I don't remember where I'm at. So every time I go and update something that I'm changing to something else, I will save my settings again. And then I've got them saved back. And when something gets updated or something crashes really bad, or my computer crashes, or I'm jumping on a model mania, right? I can go do a model mania. I can copy my settings, take them with me, and do the model mania. So that's a nice little thing to do. And then just restore them on whatever machine you're at. Next thing is going a little bit deeper, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole too far other than just say investigate it, because being able to make custom ribbons, custom commands, and little cool things by using the API will take you a long way, right? It does have a little bit of learning curve, but it's not super hard, right? And with AI anymore, you probably get it to do it for you, right? So get into the API, look at it, see what it's doing, and where you can benefit from it. All right, who feels this way around here sometimes when you're working? Yeah, always. Yeah, I got to do everything around here. Dadgummit, they want me to model a bolt or a nut or whatever else, but you don't have to do it all yourself. Resources are out there, and I like to use McMaster-Carr, but I do caveat that with some other stuff here in a minute. Be careful what you're downloading. We talked about this earlier with threads and your display resolution or your resolution and all that stuff, right? So be careful with that stuff, because you can really increase your triangle counts by doing that. And so this is just kind of a comparison, being able to see that in your assembly visualization. If you don't know about that, check out the recordings. I think Brad's talked about it a couple of times this trip, so you can see some of that stuff.
Deepak put a UI or a link in there. He is a deep API user, and he posted it in the chat.
Awesome. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Deepak. All right, so dimension tips. How much time do I got left, Brad?
Negative.
Okay, because this is an extra. I threw this slide in here as extra slide just in case I needed some more content. So I'm just going to go through it real quick. Use the right dimensions for the job. Smart dimensioning is not an end-all be-all, especially in your sketches. If you just click the line, it's grabbing the point. So if that relationship got messed up or something, and you say you wanted something to have a vertical dimension of a certain amount, or the line to be a certain dimension, and the relationship kicked off to the side, it's no longer that size anymore, right? Now you're getting a different dimension from what you originally wanted. And then, chain dimensions and stuff. Watch that stuff too, because chain dimensions can mess with you as well. Stacking tolerances and stuff like that. In 2022, I like how SOLIDWORKS added the new diameter radius changing. Before, you would have to go into your properties manager, go to the second tab of your properties manager and click it over. There was a right click feature that came in the drop down that you could kind of get to. It still wasn't great, but now it's on the flyout menu and you can just change it from there. So that's nice that they did that in 22. Use shift. Brad talked about this in a meeting this week. Use shift to get the outside of your slots if you want a dimension from the outside. Otherwise, it's going to the center. It just makes it real easy versus having to do a lot of cumbersome stuff to get the outside of your radiuses anywhere. And then use dimension direction lock. This is really good because say you're doing something. Is that a GIF? I don't think that's a GIF. I have one that has a GIF on it. So you see on this mouse, and I did a highlight of the mouse, pay attention to your mouse. It's telling you, hey, this right button is kind of grayed out. It's got a little padlock on the bottom. Some of them will have a check box where you can do the confirmation right there by the mouse click. But pay attention to that, because with this, when you're pulling dimensions down, you may want to, for this example, I pulled the dimension down. I want it in that location, but maybe I want the text to be outside to the left. But if I do that, it changes the orientation of the dimension. If I right click the mouse, it'll lock that in that location. I can pull it down, have it where I want, and move it anywhere I want, and it's going to stay a horizontal dimension, right? I can right click it again, unlock it, move it. Maybe I wanted the vertical dimension. And so when I right click that vertical dimension, or when I right click after the vertical dimension, then I can still move it and it stays a vertical dimension, right? And it doesn't try and rotate all over the place for me. All right. So one of the last things I like to do is throw some notes on the board and say, hey, if I was you was me, what kind of stuff would I be kind of writing down or jotting down? And there's a lot here, right? So just take this with a grain of salt too. But a terminology for UI, understanding how to communicate about the software. Mid-plane is your friend, right? Use the mid-planes, keep things symmetrical. Name your features and folders, right? Make sure you can help benefit from it later on and other users that are consuming your data. Make it yours. You use it every day. I mean, when anybody's a gamer, when you got a console, right, you're probably going to use the controller you want, the headset you want, the TV you want, all that stuff goes into play. Do the same thing with SolidWorks. You're in it every day. Don't. I've heard people say, well, if my employer's not going to buy it for me, I'm not going to use it. You're only hurting yourself. All right. So, and that's just on maybe external peripheral stuff, which I'll talk about tomorrow. But just the UI is simple. You're not paying anything for it. You can customize it all yours. Make it yours, right? And then use the sketch expert to help you find some solutions out there too. Now, I do like to do a call to action just to help, give some initiation or maybe a nudge in the side a little bit. But make mistakes fearlessly, right? Mistakes are what build us to become stronger and better people. I always say the ones that don't make the mistakes are probably the ones not doing anything. Tell people. Don't keep it to yourself. Tell people. Tell people what you know and let them gain and learn off of you. Become the expert, right? Learn through your mistakes and become the expert. Albert Einstein said that failure is just success and progress, right? And then Eleanor Roosevelt said, learn from your mistakes, learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself, right? And with that, I'll leave you to ask some questions.